Okay, Brian, my question is, do you have a specific plan to create more private sector jobs, and what is it?
Well, I do have a plan, not necessarily to create jobs, because congressmen and women don't create jobs. Business men and women do. Entrepreneurs do. What I can do is help create an environment to create jobs. And my plan would be, first and foremost, is to get rid of the capital gains tax. Right now it's at 15%. President Obama wants to make it go up to 20 to 40%. That is what he's talked about in the past. That would be disastrous. If we gave that 15% back to the people that earn it, that invest and take the risk, then they'd have more money in their pocket to expand, to grow, to hire more folks. I'd also like to get rid of the estate tax. Right now, this year, it's zero. It goes back to what it was 10 years ago after this year. And that'll be disastrous, not just for family businesses that have been in 7th Congressional District for a long time, but also family farms. My own family, we have an asset in the Pittsburgh Steelers that is worth a lot more than it kicks off. And because of that, my parents and my parents' generation, my parents' uncles, are all in their 70s, and they're estate planning now. And to be prudent, they have to divest themselves of that asset, because we can't afford an onerous estate tax. Otherwise, we'd have to fire sale our family business that we've had since 1933. So, I can understand it from a personal level, but I can also see it, in the businesses and farms that have been that are in the 7th Congressional District, where a farm's asset and their property is worth usually a lot more than what it kicks off. And so a lot of times farmers will have to sell out in the 3rd generation to pay for that onerous estate tax. At the very least, I would like to get rid of the estate tax for family farms, and then we can move from there. The other plan that I would advocate for is stop all discretionary spending for a period of 3 to 5 years outside of military readiness issues. We should and have to do that. The spending has gone, since the Obama administration has come into power, has gone completely out of control. And Congressman Mark Shower has been a part of that, and we need to stop it right now. So the other part of it also would be a lot of these regulatory agencies that the federal government has, like the EPA, FTC, whatever, they all are completely out of control. There is an apparatus that Congress has to rein in the power that they've been given, these regulatory agencies, called resolutions of disapproval, and we just don't utilize them. Congress doesn't, and they need to start doing it. The EPA is right now being used as kind of a, with cap and trade, the EPA is saying that if you don't pass cap and trade, we're going to regulate it on our own carbon emissions. And that's no choice. In my opinion, you should get rid of them both. Sometimes I haven't thought it through 100%, but I think that we should consider, when we look at some of these regulatory agencies that are so far out of control and so far out of what their mandate was originally given to them, we may have to get rid of them and start over. And get rid of whatever agency it is, and create it anew with really strict guidelines on what they can and can't do. So, because right now the EPA and some of these other groups they're completely out of control and beyond their bounds. And then, with some of the unfunded mandates that come out of Congress that affect the states and what the state budgets have to do, we need to put an end to. For me, whoever the next governor is, I'm confident it will be a Republican. And I believe the legislature will be pretty close to being Republican as well, if not Republican. And whatever they want to do to effectuate change here in Michigan, because that's where it really starts, is in the state government, I don't want D.C. to get in their way. And so that means making sure that we don't put onerous unfunded mandates upon them. One of the biggest unfunded mandates that's going to come down is the expansion of Medicaid. We're going to expand Medicaid threefold. We can't afford Medicaid right now in Michigan, and we're going to expand it threefold. So that's one of the things that Congress says, okay, states, you have to do this, and you have to pay for it. And we don't care if you don't have the money. We need to put an end to that practice.
Thank you.
Okay, question number 3. Are there any parts of the health care legislation that you support? What are they, and what is your position on repealing the bill?
I have signed the pledge to repeal and replace the health care bill, and I'm not naive to think that we can repeal it in the next legislative congressional period because President Obama is still going to be our president. Luckily, or fortunately, the bill doesn't get fully implemented until 2014. The next presidential election is 2012, and we'll have a chance to become a Republican president again, and I'm hopeful that that's when we'll be able to repeal it and replace it with something that makes more sense, that allows for the market to fix a lot of the problems that we have. For instance, I agree that pre-existing conditions should be something that we need to take a look at and fix under the old or current healthcare regimes that we have. Michigan's a great example of where we could have taken the plan that we have with Blue Cross Blue Shield that does cover pre-existing conditions. We've had that for a while in Michigan, and it is a higher premium, I understand that. But if you would allow across state line competition, then people with pre-existing conditions or children that have pre-existing conditions, they could come to Michigan and get their health care. And then maybe if enough people came to Michigan, then the states that don't allow would start saying, we need to start doing this because we're losing business. So that's a part of the bill that, they talk about pre-existing conditions and being implemented and those sorts of things, but I don't believe that even the ones in the current bill have been fully implemented yet. Inevitably in any comprehensive bill, there are going to be parts of it that you could say, okay, that's not a bad idea. But I was for a conservative approach to healthcare reform. If you take things bullet by bullet, pre-existing conditions, let's find where we can agree and move on and see how it works. Right now you have a shotgun approach where we're promised that the bill's going to be deficit neutral and then everything's going to be great on the back end. When in reality you're shifting costs from insurers to providers, and providers are going to inevitably ration care because that's the only way they're going to be able to keep their costs down. And so seniors have a right to be concerned about that, and so do parents like myself with special needs children that have pre-existing conditions, that I'm very concerned about the rationing of care, where Michigan and University of Michigan has the best specialized health care in the world. They saved my son's life. I don't want that to go away. And when you have people from all over the world coming to Michigan to get the best health care in the world here, I'm very fearful of that atrophying. So, whether or not there are aspects of the bill that are good, the overall bill is no good, and it needs to go and it needs to be replaced.
Thank you.